doing this very well is Marek Denko. Put your hands up if you've heard of him before. Yeah? A few people? Okay. Yeah, he's a very popular artist. If you hang around on CG Society, you've probably seen him a fair bit. But yeah, very, very high standard of work. And he's got his own website, marekdenko.net. You probably can't see it there. But yeah, and he updates that with works in progress, clay renders, wireframes, things like that. Yeah, so they work very well. Yeah, okay. So, second step I recommend you do is to make a short film. Obviously, this is a very big step, and we wouldn't have time to discuss all of the steps involved in that in this presentation. But I highly recommend you at least consider making a short film. For one of the biggest reasons is that not many people do it. So it gives you a lot of credibility when you do make one. The other thing is that it spreads like wildfire. Demo reels are very popular for people in the 3D industry, but otherwise not very much. Not many people forward demo reels onto their friends or family or things like that. But if you make a short film, then it can become very, very popular. For example, the Kiwi short film, have you guys seen that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very popular, right? And that was the sort of thing that people just shared and spread on with their friends and family. And you wouldn't think that would be a very good thing, having it forwarded on to just random people in the public. But you never know where it's going to end up. They might forward on to the mum, who happens to forward on to a cousin, who works for a studio, who forwards it on to a boss. Things like that. So that's a very good thing. It's basically, it's kind of like that whole viral marketing sort of sense, and it just does the marketing for you. The second thing is that it can be more effective. Oh yeah, more effective than a demo reel. I just said that. The third thing is that it demonstrates you understand the process of making a short film. So if you're applying it at something like Blur Studios, where they make a lot of short films, then yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things involved with making a short film, like story, editing, music, storyboards, things like that. So if you've already made a short film that works, the employer's going to see that, and it's going to be they're going to see you as more valuable because they don't need to teach you those things. You don't need to learn them on the job because you've already got those skills and you understand the process. The fourth thing is, like I said, it adds credibility. There's not many people out there that make short films. So if you do it, you're going to be, it's going to sort of become part of your brand. You're going to be forever known as the guy that made the Kiwi film or something like that. Okay, a great example is, of course, Alex Roman. Put your hands up if you've seen Third and the Seventh. Yeah, pretty much everyone, right? Yeah. Very, very popular film. Came out in February this year. Pretty much took the world by storm. Everyone forwarded it on to everyone else. I think it's got almost 2 million views now. And that was just because it just blew everyone away. People couldn't believe that it was CG. And yeah, as a result, he's forever going to be known as Alex Roman, the guy who made the Third and the Seventh. And that's incredibly powerful marketing for him. Step 3, make a tutorial. You might not think this would be something that would be very helpful for freelancing, but it's something they teach you with internet marketing, is that when you're providing value to people for free, then you get lots and lots of traffic coming to your website. And you'd think that a lot of the traffic would be like beginners or noobs coming there to learn something, but you'd be surprised at the number of professionals that come to look at tutorials. I get emails from people who work in studios and things like that saying, oh, I saw your tutorial online, we've got a client that wants a similar thing done, can you do it for us? Even though I've already made a tutorial on it, they just prefer to pay me because they can see that I can already do it. It's sort of like baffling at first to think, why did they come to me? Why they're a studio, they should know how to do this. But yeah, you would be surprised at who is watching your who's watching your tutorials. Second thing is that it makes you look like an expert. When you've got people following you, looking up to you, it's going to improve your reputation, and people are going to see you as more of an expert, and companies are going to be more likely to hire you. Third thing is that it shows you're passionate about 3D. The last thing a company wants to do is hire someone who's got a pretty good portfolio, and then they find out that they're not really passionate about 3D on the weekends. They just want to hang out with friends instead of doing the overtime like everyone else. So if they can see that you're already making tutorials in your spare time, just from home because you enjoy it, then that's going to be incredibly powerful as well. The fourth thing is that it lets people warm to you. There's something about hearing somebody's voice. You can tell a lot about their personality, and it's sort of like it's like an icebreaker. People feel like they know you just from listening to you. A great example is, of course, Andrew Kramer. Put your hands up if you've heard of him before. Yeah, again, pretty much everyone, right? So he does the tutorials, videocopilot.net. I think he started them about 5 years ago. Yeah, he does it for the After Effects crowd. But yeah, what's interesting, I was listening to an interview with him, and he said that he got an email from J.J. Abrams, the director of the Star Trek films, who happened to be watching his tutorials online, and J.J. Abrams actually employed him to do the ending credits for Star Trek, I think it was, as well as some titles for upcoming trailers and things like that. So yeah, J.J. Abrams was looking at tutorials online. Why was he doing that? Don't know, but like I said, you'd be surprised at who would be watching your tutorials online. Step 4 is to be a real person. This is yeah, a bit of a different point, but the main thing that I recommend people do is to start using the real name. When the internet first came out, a lot of people were unsure about the security of it. They thought if they used their real name online that someone was going to come to their house and kill them. Obviously now we realise you can use your real name online and the internet's become a lot more secure. But surprisingly, most people aren't doing that. On forums, they're using aliases, nicknames, things like that. Which, when you think about it, for an artist, makes absolutely no sense, because you're putting all this time and effort into building up a reputation for your name, and yet you're hiding under an alias which nobody knows is associated with you. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's also confusing to people. Like if an employer asks, can I see some of your work? And then you send them a link to a forum or something like that, and it's a different username, they don't know that that's you, and it's very confusing and it's unnecessary. The second thing is to use a real photo for your avatar. Again, this makes you seem like a real person, less like a robot, and that's very important as well. A lot of people wonder why I use my photos and things like that on like webcams on my tutorials. Again, that's just to show personality-wise, and that I'm not like a corporate figure teaching tutorials like that, but as more of like a friend and somebody teaching something. So yeah, that's another reason why I recommend using a real photo for your avatar. Third thing is to be yourself. By that I mean don't be afraid to sort of venture off into other unrelated discussions and things like that. Again, that's just showing your personality and things like that. That's going to shine through. And again, it's just breaking down the icebreaker. The pros of this, yeah, like I said, it makes you seem less like a robot. Allows your employer to warm to you, and again, it avoids confusion, which is important. A great example is Nick Campbell. He runs the website Grayscale Gorilla, where he does tutorials for the Cinema 4D crowd. And he does, he's really funny. He has like, webcasts and things like that. And he's known as like the guy with the slicked hair and the geeky glasses and the beard. And that's become sort of like his brand, what he's known for. And when he's doing these little webcast things, he's not afraid to venture off and talk about coffee or playing the guitar and things like that. And people love it because it's you become to know him like a person, less as a company. Step 5 is to expose yourself. Now I spoke at the beginning about why it's important to have a blog. It's also important to expose yourself to a lot of other communities out there across the internet. So these are just a few to get you started. Now the main reason to do this, to be on all, as many of those social networking sites as possible, is that you are exposing yourself to multiple audiences. If there's somebody out there that only uses DeviantArt, for example, if they're looking for somebody to employ, a freelancer or something like that, they're going to use DeviantArt to try and find an artist. If you're not on there, then they're not going to be able to find you, and as a result, you missed out on a job for the simple fact that you weren't on that site that he was going to. Second thing is it allows you to network with potential clients, other designers. So if you use Twitter, Facebook, things like that, you're building up a relationship, a bit of a rapport with each other, getting to know each other, and then in the future, if there's jobs and things like that available, then they feel more likely to hire you because they feel like they know you. The third thing is that it builds up a following. On most of those sites, you can add a friend, become a follower, and things like that. Again, that sort of works like an RSS feed. So in future, when you make a post or something like that, it's going to show up in their home feed. Again, that's doing all the marketing for you. Fourth thing is that it increases your Google ranking. If you're on lots of those networking sites across the board, that's going to improve your name and you're going to rank higher in Google because you can add your website to the bio on all those pages and things like that. And the fifth thing is that it becomes your online resume. I'm not sure if you guys have been following the news recently, but a lot of employers now say that they no longer, or they're less likely to look at people's resumes now. They're more likely to check out your Facebook and your online presence because that's more of what you are, your personality-wise. So again, having a very strong online presence can help you in that respect. A great example of somebody doing this very well is Freddie Wong. Put your hands up if you've heard of him before. Yeah, most people, yeah. So Freddie Wong, he's very famous for his YouTube channel. He's got, I think, one of the most subscribed to YouTube channels of all time. And he makes these short little films every week where he's like blowing stuff up with, you know, visual effects. He's really, really good at it. He gets a lot of credit for his visual effects. What a lot of people don't realize, though, is how good of a marketer he is. In all his videos, you'll notice that there's things that pop up, like called YouTube annotations, where he's like, subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, add it to favorites, etc., etc. So that's a very powerful marketing. So yeah. Step 6 is to get published. You might think this is a pretty hard task to do, but yeah, when I say get published, I'm not necessarily saying write a book. I'm talking about magazines, getting your artwork in some form of, some printed form. The pros for doing this is that it adds credibility. You know, if you're in an interview, if you're in an interview with someone, and you know, you say, oh yeah, my artwork was also featured in 3D World and the portfolio section like that, the eyebrows perk up because it's, you know, you're no longer just one of the other artists online, you know, trying to get noticed, but you've actually been recognized by an editor of a magazine, and that works very, very well for your credibility. Second thing is that you reach the offline audience. Again, this is just reaching another audience. A lot of people, some people, there's not too many of them, but they don't do much online. They prefer to just read print magazines, things like that. So you're reaching them. The third thing is, like I said, it looks great on your resume. It gives you a lot more credibility. An example of somebody doing it right is, he just left the room, but but Andy, there you go. Yeah, so he's done a lot of tutorials in 3D World. I'm sure a lot of you have seen them. But yeah, that gives him a lot of credibility. I mean, I was going to ask if he's been getting any work from it, but he's gone. But there you go. So yeah, that was in the November 2009 edition. But there you go. So that's the summary of what I've discussed here. Hopefully that's sort of good. Wow, that presentation's finished pretty quick. So, yeah, so if you've got any questions, anyone, yeah, you've got a question?
Are you going to put this on the internet?
I am actually, yes. I've recorded it here, and I'm screencasting it as well. So hopefully, yeah, I'm going to put that up on the internet. Also, there's something else. Yeah. Alright, I've got some printouts. I put it into like sort of like an action plan. So if people are wanting to start doing this today, you can come up and grab one of those handouts there. I haven't got enough for everyone, but yeah. So yeah, any other questions? If anyone's got any, I don't know, maybe you want to share an experience about marketing, an extra point? Yeah, David, go ahead.
Yeah, when you know about really high profile in 3D or